Okay, B'Rishus Rav Olbaum, for the use of his beautiful shul. Let's not take that for granted. With appreciation to Chazaq for bringing us Chazaq and for the wonderful work that they do. And my good friend Rabbi and Chickens for Shabbos, you know that there is a Medrash in Shmos Rabbah. The Medrash says in Shmos Rabbah that Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu the oitzros, the vaults, the treasures that will be given for the tzaddikim for the different mitzvahs that they do. So of course we must add that this is probably ancillary rewards, because we all know the pasuk, Ayin lo rasa lekim zulasecha, no eye beheld except you, Hashem, what you will do for those that hope towards you. Right? So how could Moshe Rabbeinu have seen it? The answer is that the real reward is the Shechina. And lo yirani adam b'chayt, no man can see that and live. But there are extra rewards. And that's what he was showing Moshe Rabbeinu. Then the Medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu came to an oitzer mavik, a shining vault. And he asked Hashem, what's in this vault? And Hashem said, it's for people that help Yisoimim. That's what the Medrash says. For people that help orphans. There's all kinds of orphans. There are orphans where a mother or father died, or both died. You know that we all know about the dynasty of Brisk. Brisk! Shishilta the Brisk! What would Klal Yisrael look like without Brisk? Without Reb Chaim's Torah and the Rambam? Without Reb Chaim the stencils? Do you know how Brisk came about? You know, Beis Halevi got divorced. It was a very sad story. And his second wife was a widow with 8 children. Married a widow with 8 children. They asked him, why is he marrying? Beis Halevi was an eligible bachelor. He's marrying a widow with 8 children for? He said, if I don't marry her, who's going to marry her? And it says that if you release an aguna, it's like building a rune in Jerusalem, in Yerushalayim. So he said, she's not an aguna. She said she is. Aguna is a woman that can't get married. And from that union came Brisk. You know what it means to help the children of agunas, of gerushas, of almanas? You know what that means? And chicken for Shabbos is basics. It's chayim. I want to tell you something. If you just came here tonight to give something to Rabbi for chickens for Shabbos, you already made your new year really much better. So we're also grateful to Chickens for Shabbos. I like chicken during the week too. Now, I'll tell you, it's an interesting thing. Only Chazaq could get away with this. I gave a topic for tonight. Then they send me a poster with a different topic on it. It's true. You should at least have to pay double for that. I mean, only Chazaq could do that. So I'll speak about the new topic. The topic is, don't give up. It's actually a good topic. Oh, I have one more machine. I have one more machine. Hope I have it. Dr. Guy, it's nice to see Dr. Guy joining us. We have a crowd joining us over here as well. I guess I didn't bring it. I did. One more machine. The Chazaq Rebbe says, you see, tshuva, the activity of inspection, introspection, the activity of cheshbon hanefesh, has a fallout. The fallout is that we can get very down on ourselves. You know, let's face it. If a person says, you know, you're right. I don't think this year I had kavana once in the bracha of Tikah b'Shofar Gadol L'Chereseinu. I don't think I paid attention in V'lam Al Shinim. And you know, I don't do much kibbut of aim. And my brachas are an embarrassment. But you know, I remember saying that last Elul too. And I remember saying that in Elul when I was a bracha in yeshiva. And a young lady in Beis Yaakov, and it hasn't changed. You begin to feel... you begin to feel a little miyuyish. And that's a very big danger. Yush, says the Chazaq Rebbe, Yush shalom midas. Yush is when you're not using your head. Because Yush is exactly what the Satan wants. I assure you, the thought of us changing paralyzes the Satan with fear. It's the nemesis of what he's trying to accomplish. What, this guy wants to change? Yikes! So the answer is Yish, is to give up. Reb Tzadok HaKohen Lublin, one of the great Jewish thinkers. Reb Tzadok HaKohen Lublin says an interesting thing. He says, Klal Yisrael was built on Yish. What does that mean? I bet you never heard of that. The cornerstone of Judaism is Yish. But you never heard of that. Reb Tzadok HaKohen Lublin says, you know when Avram and Sarah had Yitzchak? Only after they absolutely gave up. As a matter of fact, you told Sarah you're going to have a child. How funny. She completely gave up. Only then was Klal Yisrael born. To show that by Klal Yisrael, there is no Yish. That's what Reb Tzadok says. A Jew never gives up. It's not in our vocabulary. I jotted down a few ideas. This was on the plate by Abdullah. You'll laugh. But Rav Chazaq Sarna, the great Rav Chazaq Sarna, Zeichet Tzadik Levrachas Chusi Yagan Aleinu. Rav Chazaq Sarna said, why do we say after the shofar, L'David Hashem Oiri V'Yishi? He says the shofar comes to awaken us. Yom Hadin is coming! And most people feel, oh, I'm not ready, oh no. Therefore we say, L'David Hashem Oiri V'Yishi. Hashem is our Yeshua. Don't give up. That's what Chazaq Sarna says. And then he adds something so sweet. So sweet. You know, Elul stands for so many things. Ani l'dodi v'dodi li, ish l'reyeyu, u'matanis l'avyonim, right? Ov l'mala, ov l'mata v'nechmad l'mala. Elul stands for a lot of delicious things. You know what Rabbi Chazaq Sarna says Elul stands for? Efsher l'skayim v'lamoid l'fanecha. It's possible. It's possible for us to stand before Hashem. Don't give up. That's what El stands for. Efsher l'skayim v'lamoid l'fanecha. There's been something that's been circulating around, a cute word, that when somebody sees something scary, he says, Gewalt! And when somebody sees something exciting and happy, he says, Gewaldig. The difference between Gewalt and Gewaldig is Yud Gimel's 13. That's Echad. That's Hashem. If you have Hashem with you, they can make the Gewalt into Gewaldig. That's what they say. So I thought about something else. The difference between Yish and Yeshua is 74. That's da, to know. If you fortify yourself with the knowledge, it won't be a Yish, it'll be a Yeshua. I can't begin to tell you how deadly Yish is. I don't think it's a coincidence that Oso Ha'ish, that Rav Miller calls the Nazarene, says in the Gemara that we should make fun of Avodah Zarah. Reuven Feinstein calls the Pope the popsicle. So they say in Europe they called Yoshka Pandrik. But in Gemara his name is Yeshu. Yeshu. Yud Shin Vav. Happens to be interesting. It's Yamach Shemai V'Zichrei. It's a whole shaila whether you say on a Jew Yamach Shemai V'Zichrei. It's interesting. Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld said that he has a raya that you never say on a Jew Yamach Shemai V'Zichrei. And he says the proof is that there's a mitzvah of Yibum for a brother to be miyabim a Rosh's wife. Even a Rosh Gadol. So you see that even on a Rosh Gadol there's a mitzvah l'hakim l'chav shem. So in a Jew we never say Yamach Shemai V'Zichrei. But it's interesting that Yeshu, it says, what happened with him? The Rebbe pushed him away with both hands. It's Gemara in Sanhedrin, was taken out by the censor. So in our Gemaras, when we learned to Daf Yomi, he didn't have it. But in the Steinsaltz Gemaras, he brings down what was taken out by the censor. Yoshka was pushed away with both hands. So Yoshka was Yish. When there's Yish, you begin to fall apart. And from Yish became Yeshu. And became a whole Christianity. The Yish is so dangerous. It's an interesting story that they say. I'm getting in a story. It's an interesting story that they say that when a spider makes a web in a corner, If you watch this, it's nearly not for the, even though the making of a web is so, I once watched, it's so extraordinary, the making of a web. It's mamish nifloyes habayre, to see how the spider makes a web. It's I don't like most of us, I don't like spiders. But to watch, I once watched a spider make a web. You watch a spider make a web, then it crawls in the corner and it waits for a fly to be caught. Then the fly is caught and is jumping around in the web. The spider still waits. Only when the fly goes limp and gives up, then the spider attacks. And this Korei Achabesh, it's called. This is the mashal that they bring. The Satan waits, he gets us in his web, but while we're trying, he doesn't do anything. It's only when we give up, that's when we're in danger. We're never supposed to give up. I thought I would give you, since I wasn't given much time to prepare for this year by Chazaq, I'll tell you the truth. We didn't know when this year was, and we didn't know where this year was, and over Shabbos my phone died. So the reason why we're here a little later is I had to wait for my phone to start to find out where this year was. I thought I'd give you a few examples about how we see in our history that one should never give up. And I'm going to start with Yocheved, because I think that Yocheved is such an example. Imagine you're married to the Gadol Hador, you're married to Amram, and every girl is having sextuplets every year. Sextuplets. And you're going and not having children. And you're getting older, 30, 40, 50. All your neighbors are having busloads of children. Every house had its own school. Because if they had 6 children 10 times, they had 60 children. Right? And here she doesn't have one child. Now imagine how easy it is for her to give up. Just imagine. What does she do? She decides she needs chusin. She becomes a midwife. At the age of 124, she has Miriam. The age of 127, she has Aaron. At the age of 129, she has from Eltzaphan Bar Parnach, that's another story, Eldad Umeidad. At 130, she has Moshe Rabbeinu. What would be if she gave up? Where would Klal Yisrael be? You don't give up because you never know when the main part of your life is just around the corner. You don't give up. And right near Yocheved is Boaz. Boaz, whose name is Boaz, in him was strength. That was Boaz. Boaz, in him was strength. Gemara Bava Basra tells us that he buried 30 sons and 30 sons-in-law. And then he buried his wife. I mean, well, I know. I can't even begin to identify with that. A man to live and bury 30 sons and 30 son-in-laws in a lifetime? Then to bury his wife. Yet he never gave up in the last day of his life. He sired Malchus Beis David with Rus. Man never gave up. And because of him, we have Malchus Beis David. We have Shlomo HaMelech. We have the Melech HaMashiach. Because this man never gave up and continued on. Maybe comparable to him was Rabbi Akiva. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'hakol niyeh b'dvaro. Maybe comparable to him was Rabbi Akiva. Here's a man who didn't start learning until he was 40 years old. That's when he started learning. He left his wife Rachel. For 24 years, sacrificing living with Rachel. Rachel was so special. To raise 24,000 Talmidim. Thank you. And then every single last one choked to death. His life's work. You know, great Rebbeim say that many Rebbeim don't have Sfarim. They say their Talmidim are their Sfarim. I heard this from many great Rebbeim. They never put out Sfarim. My Talmidim are my Sfarim. I have Lebedik as Sfarim. All 24,000 Talmidim Rabbi Akiva died. Let me ask you something. Do you think that could break a person? What did he do? Did he give up after that? And Rachel died also. Did he give up after that? Some gesund. He went to the south. He raised another 5 or 7 Talmidim. One of them was Rabbi Meir, who was Meir Einei Yisrael with his learning. And he rebuilt Torah. That's because Rabbi Akiva didn't give up. If Rabbi Akiva gave up, we wouldn't have Torah. He didn't give up. They lost buried 24,000. Imagine 24,000 as Spadim. It's unimaginable. How it could break a person. He didn't give up. Soon the whole world is going to be excited with the start of Masechtas Brachos, January 3rd. The whole world is going to mamish open up that Brachos Gemara as it so deserves. There's going to be a global excitement. 10 days into the daf, we're going to learn about Yeshaya HaNavi's prophecy to Chizkiah. The Navi comes to Chizkiah and Chizkiah asks him excitedly, what does Hashem have to say now? Tell me the word of the Lord! And Yeshaya tells him, get your affairs in order. Ki meis ata v'lo sichya. You're going to die and not live. Gemara says you'll die in this world and not live in the next world. The great Chizkiah. So Chizkiah says, why? He says, because you're not having children. You're not married. So he says, because I saw in prophecy that my child will not be good. As a matter of fact, his grandchild would kill Yeshaya. So Yeshaya said, "B'hadei kivshei d'Rachman olam ali." You shouldn't be busy with the secrets of God. You have to have a child. And he said, "Okay, Kali Nevoska v'tzei." He said, "Navi, finish your nevuah and leave." Kach bekublani afilu cherev chodam uneches al tzavori shel adam al tisyoish min harachamim. And he turned to the care. He was mispalel, and he got another 15 years. Jews don't give up. It's not in our vocabulary. And there's nothing that we could do. There's nothing that we could do that's worse than what Nebuzaradan did. Gittin tells us that Nebuzaradan killed 94,000 Jews on one stone. And it tells us that he saw the blood of the Navi bubbling. And he tried to calm it down by killing Tinoike shel Beis Rabban, by killing girls from Beis Yaakov, by killing the Sanhedrin. And then he turned, Hashem, I killed the best of them. You want me to kill them all? And the blood stopped bubbling. So come on, Gittin. And then the Nebuzaradan made a kal v'chomer. If that's what's going to be needed to atone for one person's death, what's going to be with me? What's going to be with me? And he did tshuva. And his tshuva was accepted. This is a man that killed Tinoke shel Beis Rabban, and his tshuva was accepted. When we hear this, nobody has the right to give up hope. Nobody. I don't know exactly the story. I don't know what my father, Olav Hashalom, did. I don't know. And now there's nobody that's going to be able to tell me. Don't know. But I do know that my father did a favor for somebody in the family of the Spinker Rebbe in the camps. And because of it, the Spinker Rebbe gave my father a Haggadah. And I inherited it from my father. In this Haggadah, the Spinker Rebbe asks a very elementary question. Spinker Rebbe, you have to know that the Spinker Rebbe, the Yom Kippur, before Salish was transported to Auschwitz, there were two Salish transports. My father was in the second Salish transport. It wiped out Salish, not Salish. The Yom Kippur before, the Spinker Rebbe started screaming in public. And the people didn't know why he was screaming. Had no idea why he was screaming. He was screaming, but I had no idea why he was screaming. He just said, I can't help the situation. Spinker Rebbe saw what was happening. Spinker Rebbe asks, listen to his question. It's interesting question. Spinker Rebbe says, why is it that we have a mitzvah l'man tiskaras yom tzeitzcha me'eretz Mitzrayim kol yemei chayecha? Me'yemei chayecha hayomim kol yemei chayecha haleilos. He says every Jew has to think about the exodus from Egypt every 12 hours of their life. They can't go 12 hours without thinking about Egypt. It's 365 days, every 12 hours. So the Spinker Rebbe asks, come on, there were so many miracles. We only have Purim once a year. Hanukkah is 8 days. What is it with Egypt? Every 12 hours? Every 12 hours? I mean, you can't escape Egypt. Every 12 hours. He says a remarkable thing. It's an absolutely remarkable answer that he gives. I love this answer that he gives. It's a remarkable answer. It's a remarkable answer. The Spinker Rebbe says that we all know that we left Egypt at exactly Bachatzos, at midnight. Why? Because if we would have stayed a second longer, we would have gone to the 50th degree of Tumah, and we wouldn't have been saved. We'd been doomed. Finished! That's why if you eat chametz on Pesach, it's kos, because we got out before it got time to become chametz. Because if it would have become chametz, then we would have been doomed. Says the Spinker Rebbe. Here we were, thank you, Rabbi. Here we were, moments before we would have been at the point of no return. That's how low we sunk. Nobody's here. You don't know anybody like that. Mamish rock bottom, 49th degree of Toma. And yet 49 days later we were worthy to see Hashem at Har Sinai. That's how fast a Jew could turn themselves around. He says that lesson of hope you have to think of every 12 hours of your life. That's how important that lesson is. That lesson of hope is so important that you have to think about it every 12 hours of your life. Because Yish is Shalom Midas. They say over that it says V'nakeh lo yanakeh. Yud Gimel Midos, it says V'nakeh lo yanakeh. You'll be cleansed, but you won't be fully cleansed. Person hears that, he could be miyayish, I'm not going to be cleansed. So Rabbi Meir says, Al tistakel b'kankan ela b'ma sheyesh ba. Now literally this means, don't judge a book by its cover. But they say, Al tistakel b'kankan. Don't look at the nun kuf of nakeh and the nun kuf of lo yanakeh. That's the kan and the kan. You know what's left over otherwise? Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yanakeh is Yud Kei, V'nakeh is Vav Hei. Al tistakel b'kan kan. Don't look at the kan kan. El b'ma sheyesh ba, the Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Midas HaRachamim is there. Okay, I gave you some hope. For practical, what are we supposed to do? We look at the past year and we say, I don't seem to be able to change. I just can't teach an old dog new tricks. Doesn't work. So I love the Gemara in Menachos. Gemara Menachos says that the Olam Hazeh was created with a Hey. Karibon Olam. Yud was Olam Haba, Hey is Olam Hazeh. Ela told the Shemayim V'Aretz Behi Baram, Behei Baram. This world was created with a Hey. Gemara says why? Because the Hey is open on the bottom. And if you don't hold on to the hay, which is Hashem, you're going to fall to the abyss. So the Gemara says, so why is there a crack on the left side of the hay, an opening? The Gemara says, if you fell down, you could come through the crack. So the Gemara says, what do I need the crack for? Let me come back where I fell down. Says the Gemara, Lo Yistaya Milsa. It's not going to work. You can't come back the same way you fell. And herein lies such a big advice about tshuva. If we want to do things different, we can't go on behaving the same way and expect different results. You have no idea how important this is. You don't want to talk in shul, but you want to sit in the same place. You don't want to talk in shul, change your seat. Sit by different people. Go and sit in the corner somewhere. You want to daven, but you want to have kavanah, but you're using the same sitter. Don't use the same sitter. Get a sitter, write in it. Write in the titles. By the way, that's such a great idea. By every bracha of Shemoneh Esrei, just write a title on top of the bracha. On top of B'chalkel Chaim B'chesed, write, I believe in life after death. for the rest of your life, you'll have in mind in that bracha, v'nemanat talach yismesim, I believe in life after death. In atachaynein, put on top of it, help I should always have my senses. See, people with early stage Alzheimer's, such a scary thing. In sim shalom, put on top, help my shalom bias. Now, of course, there's a lot of other things to have in mind in sim shalom. You could ask for peace in Eretz Yisrael. You could ask that you should get along with people in shul, and people in shul should get along with each other. You should ask for achdus amongst your children. You could ask for shalom in Eretz Yisrael. But at least you'll have something. Then you could add things. But you see, what you're doing is you're doing something different. You can't get the same, do it the same way and get different results. Lo yistaya milsa. This is a big piece of advice. Lo yistaya milsa. Here's a person who is honest with himself that he's not giving enough tzedakah. But he's been honest about it himself all the years. And he yells out, Tshuva Tefillah Tzedakah. You should hear him belt it out with gusto. Tshuva Tefillah Tzedakah. He doesn't give more tzedakah because of that. But he belts it out. So here's an idea. It's a great idea. I did it for a while. I don't do it now, but I did it for a while. I had 2 wallets. At least it works for the petty cash. Every time I got money, I took a tenth and put it in the other wallet. And then when people asked me for money, it was in the stuck wallet. It didn't even hurt me. I don't want it bulging in my pocket. It's not even my money. That's doing things different. It's doing things different. You got to figure out how to do things different. There are people that they attach their learning to their eating. If I find time to learn, then I can find time to, if I find time to eat, I can find time to learn. They attach their learning to their eating. Other people work out that they attach their learning to their davening. But you got to figure out ways. But you don't give up. You don't give up. Don't give up. Remember, you'll say the Rabbi Shalom is sick of me already. I have to tell you a big yesod. Big yesod. Tell you a big yesod. When Yishmael was dying, the Torah says the years of Yishmael, and then it says Yemei Shnei Chayi Yishmael. So it says the years separately, and then it says Yemei Shnei Chayi Yishmael. So it asks the Riva, who's a Rishon, and the Rabbi Bar Tanura, who has a Pirush on Chumash besides his world-famous Pirush on Mishnayos. It says, when it says, Yemei Shnei Chayei Sarah, Kulon Shavan L'Taiva. So, but it says the same thing by Yishmael. Does that mean Yishmael, Kulon Shavan L'Taiva, all his years were equally good? We know Yishmael did tshuva at the end of his life, but Sarah kicked him out of the house because he was a Mitzachik. And Rashi says he was over by the Zargil Reis and Shvichas Damim. How can you say Kulan Shaman L'Taiva? Both the Riva and the Rav give the same answer. They say Yishmael did tshuva mi'ava. And when he did tshuva mi'ava, he converted his whole life to good. There are people that go through life so burdened by guilt. The way I treated my parents, the way I was to my children, the way I was to my wife, to my husband, the way I davened. Ugh! I'm hopeless! We have to know that that's why we come into shul and we sing vidui. Ay, 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 Shamna, Bagadna, Kazalna, Dibarna, Daifi. Imagine you're standing in front of the judge. And you go like this, Judge, ay, 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 we're guilty, we're treacherous, and we stole. Judge is going to turn to the lawyer and say, is he asking for an insanity clause? The most famous answer to this question is we sing by vidui. There are a lot of answers. It's interesting, the Hasidim say the answer is because the mitzvah of vidui is a mitzvah d'oraisa. And it says, if duas Hashem b'simcha. So we confess b'simcha. But the most understandable answer to this question is because I'm doing tshuva with my love with Hashem. And if I do tshuva with love, then my averos become mitzvahs. And that's what to sing about. What does it mean to do tshuva from love? It means to realize, Hashem, you do so much for me. I owe this to you. Not just because I'm afraid of punishment, but this is coming to you. That's tshuva mi'ava, that's not hard to do. Hashem does so much for us. Don't give up. Don't give up. Just remember that Habolah Taher Messiah Naisai. Remember, I once told you that Bereshis is an acronym for the most important things in life. It's a word from the Vilna Gaon. Bereshis stands for Bitochen, Ratzon, Ava, Shtika, Yira, and Torah. The reish of Ratzon is a big thing. You have to have a will to be better. This is the time of the year to have a will to be better. A will. So you'll say, but I can't. And you're right, you can't. Without Hashem's help, you can't. But with Hashem's help, you can. And you're not trying because you're not computing Hashem's help. With Hashem's help, you can! I was told there's some single people here in the crowd. I want to tell you this is a very important time of the year. I heard that Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro said he was in Fez, and he noticed by the Svardim, the seats aren't facing the front, they're facing each other. I've seen Svardi shuls like that in Long Branch also. So he asked the guide why it is, and the guide says that they used to sit grandparents and parents on one side, and children and grandchildren on the other side, so that the younger dairies should follow the older dairies. Today we have the younger dairies not wanting to daven with the older dairies. And today we have the good people not wanting to daven with the difficult people. They forgot that tzibur stands for tzaddik beinanim and rishoim. And that's the beauty of a tzibur. And that we always have to have people that the other people can learn from. But I think that there's a more simple reason why they have the benches facing each other. Because when we come to shul, we have to daven for each other. And when you're single and you're daven for a shidduch, don't just daven for yourself. Daven for each other with a passion. Daven for the success of each other with a passion. And when they have hatzlacha, your friends, then say moedim with a passion, fulfilling v'ahavta l'reach kamocha. And when you're dating and somebody is no good for you, right away think, who is he good for? Who is she good for? That's very important. I thought to myself, although the hour is late, I thought to myself that maybe, since this is such a critical time of the year, first of all, it's the first I'm hearing about it. I assume that means I'm coming the next 2 Motzei Shabbos this year? Huh? Yeah? Here. Not here?
Next week you're going to go to Rabbi Chama, and the week after for the session.
Okay, but let me make the topics, all right? And let me know before Shabbos, all right, where I'm going.
We could speak on the power of Yesh Meir.
Oh, here he goes. Here he goes. On power of Yesh Meir. Maybe we'll speak about chickens for Shabbos. You know, Rabbi say, you know what? Since my good friend Rabbi mentions it, you know what Bereshis stands for? Amen Yesh Meir Rabba B'Kol Tefillah. That's what Bereshis stands for. It's the very beginning. Amen Yesh Meir Rabba B'Kol Tefillah. It's Kairin a Gzar Din of even 70 years. But since it's such an important time of the year, I thought that maybe for a few minutes I would take some questions from the crowd on the topic of Elul. So if anybody has any questions, I might not know the answer, but if I do know the answer, I'll try to answer it. Any questions? Anybody? Women could also ask. Yes?
How come all of a sudden people don't go, the men don't go to the whole year, go to
The going of the mikveh is a perfect symbolism of tshuva. The mikveh is supposed to represent the baby coming out of the womb. The baby comes out and comes out with water, without clothing. And when we go in the mikveh, it represents a new start of purity. That's what we're supposed to symbolize right before Rosh Hashanah, and again when we appeal before Yom Kippur. By the way, the mikveh is 40 sa, which represents the number of change. Because it says, Arbam Yom Li'Yetziras Havlada, it takes 40 days for the creation of the embryo. So that means to create a new nature is 40. That's the 40 sa of the mikveh. That represents a new change, a new start. By the way, also you shouldn't feel that many people in Aseret Yimei Tshuva adapt chumras. They don't eat pas palter. They have only Chalav Yisrael, and you'll say, isn't that being a phony? And the answer is the Mefarshim say that we tell Hashem, we're acting lifnim mishuras hadin now, that you should act to us lifnim mishuras hadin as well. Next question. Yes?
You say that the men is more than 100 kolos because of the mother of Sisera. And you would think, though, based on a mother of Russia, why would the men almost all the time of the year based on mother of Russia?
Good question. He wants to know why on Rosh Hashanah do we blow 100 shofar blasts to evoke the memory of the mother of Sisera. The answer is that certainty that the mother of Sisera had, that her son is going to come back a victor. And then she saw that it wasn't that way. That's also what we do when we're Kras Satan. The Satan is certain that he has the goods on us. And it's going to come out not that way. We're going to come out victorious. Next question. Yes?
So you try to change, but start change is very difficult. And what should be the first step to change?
Good question. If you're embarking on change, what should you start with first? What should be your first start? So one of the things that we know as Jews is Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem. That the first of wisdom is awareness of Hashem. And that's why it's called Elul Ani L'Dodi. My focus is to my beloved. So if you want to know what you should start with first, it's that when you take the 3 steps in Shemona Esrei, focus that you're now talking to Hashem. That should be the first start. That's Yiras Shamayim. It should be when you bench, you're not talking to the city, you're saying thank you to Hashem. Now, if you want something else, if you're married, treat your spouse well. Because even if you don't deserve to live, but if your spouse needs you, you'll live anyway. So treating your spouse well is always a good thing to work on. And finally, of all the 613 mitzvahs, there's only one mitzvah that is included in the things that are mavir and esrei ha'gezeira. Tshuva repeals the decree because it's an eraser. Tefillah is begging for our life. But then, the only one mitzvah is tzedakah. Tzedakah tatzam amavas. So give as much tzedakah change and give as much, answer those letters in the mail, send something. Give as much tzedakah as you can. That's an immediate change that has immediate results. Any other questions? Yes?
Firstly, thank you for all your shiur.
You're very welcome.
Time and everywhere. How do we reconcile when we want to do tshuva gemura, certain things that say Bittul Torah, that we're never going to be able to testify, Hashem can't testify that, we're not going to do it again?
The Rambam says in the Nusach of Viduy Ona Hashem, let's say a person realized that he didn't learn Torah on Tuesday. So he wants to say Viduy. Now the Nusach of Viduy in Hilchos Tshuva is Ona Hashem Chatosi Avisi Pashati Lefanecha Ba'avoin HaChomer Shel Bittul Talmud Torah V'Ariani Nichamti U'Bayishti B'Maisai U'La'olam Eini Chayzel Davazeh. So this gentleman asks, but I can't say because it's very likely that in the next few Tuesdays I won't learn again. So how could I do tshuva? It's a good question. How could I say viduy? It's a good question. So the Mabit, in his remarkable sefer on tefillah called Beis Elikim, says that we could do tshuva b'miktzas. And I amend the viduy, and I talk to other chashuva people that do the same thing, and I say, V'ishtadol ani shaloi la'asais davar zeh oid. So example, if I spoke Lashon Hara, I say, Hari ani nichamti u'boishti b'maisai, v'ishtadol ani shaloi la'asais davar zeh oid. Now I know that the Rambam says that tshuva gemura is v'yod olav, Yoidea talumais, that you won't do it anymore. So most of us are not holding by that. And Hashem doesn't expect it from us. Any more questions? Yes?
You said earlier that Sarah couldn't conceive until she had given up hope. But why was that the case? Like, why would it have to be if she had to give up hope first, before she was able to.
So Rab Tzaddik said it's to teach us. Well, first of all, you have a double-edged question. The reason why Sari Meno had to wait so long, it says, Mipnei ma'i moiseyan akaros, why were our matriarchs barren? Mipnei shemis'ave HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'tfilas. Hashem wanted them to fulfill a certain quota of prayer. That's number one. But number two, Rab Tzaddik HaKohen's novelty is that he says that Hashem wanted to build Klal Yisrael on the concept that even if things look hopeless, they're not. And therefore all of Klal Yisrael came after things were hopeless. Any women have questions? No, women know everything. Okay. Yes? What?
We wait all year to say L'David Hashem. So,
Oh, Hilton, how are you? I wasn't wearing my glasses. They let you in here? Yeah.
we hear the whole song.
Yeah.
So L'David Hashem, we wait a whole year to start saying L'David Hashem.
Yeah.
What's the significance? What does it do for us?
Okay. The reason why we say L'David Hashem Oiri V'Yishi at this time of the year is, again, think about what it says in L'David. This is the time where we're going to come to Hashem to ask for a new year. In it we say, Acha sha'alti me'ez Hashem osa avakesh. We're defining what we want. Shivti beveis Hashem kol yemei chayai. Now, we're not all saying that we want to be in Kol. I don't want you, Hilton, to stop saying L'David. That's not what we're doing. But we're saying wherever I sit, I should realize that I'm in the presence of Hashem. That's the message of Elul. Elul is Ani L'Dodi, I am to my beloved. My beloved is Hashem. It's a relationship with Hashem. And in direct proportion to how Ani L'Dodi, that's the way V'Dodi Li. That's the way Hashem will be to me. You know, it's interesting. Comes Rosh Hashanah, I'm praying for my parnas, I'm praying for my gesund, my family is gesund, no scares, happiness. Wow! What do I start Shemana Esrei with? V'chein tein pachta Hashem aleinu. Al kol maasecha. Please, we should be scared. That's what we're starting with? That's what I want? I want to bring home a good parnas, I want to be healthy, I want to have shalom bayis, I want to have a lot of mullah. V'chein tein pachta. The answer is Hashem wants us to realize Him. Then He gives us whatever we need. In all your ways acknowledge Him. Live with God. We blow the shofar, we coronate Hashem. That's the message. That's L'David. This is a heightened month of being aware of Hashem. Noticing the mezuzah. Keeping Shabbos. Shabbos means I have a boss. I believe the world didn't come from a big bang. That's what we work on this month. Then we come ready on Rosh Hashanah to appoint Hashem as our king. That's what it's about, the coronation. HaMelech HaKadosh. I want to thank Chazaq, Chicken for Shabbos, all of you for coming. I haven't been here a long time. Maybe next week I'll be more prepared, but I have with me some things if somebody wants to buy something. I have, first of all, I made a special MP3 with 114 shiurim on Orchos Chaim LaRosh. Now that's something nice to learn at this time of the year. The Rosh, one of the Gedolei Rishonim, a third of Shulchan Aruch is based on him. He wrote a sefer, How to Live. So I gave a shir on the whole sefer. It's 114 shiurim. I have that MP3. Also, I have the new Q&A that I did with Country Yossi for the Irgun. I have, if anybody wants signed the sefer, I have some power benchings. I only have one Rosh Hashanah sefer here with me now. I'll have more next week. I have my 12 CDs on Pirkei Avos. If anybody wants something signed or to buy something or to start subscribing to my weekly CD or digital email, you could talk to me as well. And I want to wish everybody, till next week, we don't know where. You know, one second, next week at Rabbi Chaimov?
Yeah, what time? I'm not sure yet.
10 o'clock. Huh? Yeah, but I live in Staten Island. What?
There's a lot of houses for sale in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah, Rabbi want to sit down. Rabbi want, let's give Tnu covered LaRabbi. Yeah.
Isn't it true that a person can change his muzzle a whole year? I mean, you say by davening, Hanukkah Tichon Alei. The Gemara is like the Gemara that Rabbi Weiss quoted. The Gemara says, it's a Oni Hishim Rabba, Machok Sashin Places.
Okay, answer. Answer.
So it was like Zayda, and now you negated that Zayda.
The Eilas Tamid, which is a wonderful sefer to buy on Tefillah. I recommend it for everyone. Whoever reads Hebrew should buy the Eilas Tamid. It's very wonderful, very simple. In his Akdama, he says people don't have kavanah in davening because they don't know what the words mean. And he says, I'll prove it to you. In Yom Revi, it says Sarapai, and who knows what that means. Right? So he says that when we say in Hashiva Sheftenu, V'tzadkenu b'mishpat, that you should declare us righteous in judgment, you could change your decree every day. That's what he says in V'tzadkenu. Now Rabbi davens Nusach Sfard, so he says more V'tzadkenu b'tzedek v'mishpat. But I daven Ashkenaz, so all I say is V'tzadkenu b'mishpat. But I have in mind 3 times a day to change my mazel for the better. We'll stop over here, Rabbi Isai, and please look at the stuff for sale outside. Have a good Tavach.